All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a ridiculous story coming out today from Elder Scrolls Online. If you guys are unaware, apparently there is a person that is going semi-viral-ish right now. Nothing too crazy, but I'm sure this story is going to go wild by the time people hear about it. But apparently on Elder Scrolls Online, they have just recently given a 72-hour ban to a player for teabagging. Yes, I'm not kidding. This game that is struggling to have players right now is deciding to ban some of their players for teabagging. And apparently, this has been an issue for years in the Elder Scrolls Online community because I have a thread from 4 years ago talking about damn near the same exact thing. But this person posted this screenshot of the ban message that he got, and I figured, hell, let's talk about it. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, I played Elder Scrolls Online when it first came out, and I thought it was a pretty fun game overall, but it just didn't have the I guess the longevity that a lot of certain MMOs have these days, and I decided to quit ages ago. So I haven't been back to Elder Scrolls Online in a long time. But I gotta tell you, this game apparently is struggling to maintain players. I don't know how popular it is. I don't know if it's overall player base, but as the Steam forums seem to suggest, it seems to be a dead MMO. I have multiple forum posts from different people over at the Steam forum showcasing that this game is pretty much dead for the most part in the grand scheme of things compared to other MMOs. So I wonder why you would run around and be policing people so damn hard to the point where you're banning them for teabagging. But let's see what this guy has to say. So this account called Pain in the Axe, which is hilarious, by the way, says they got a 72-hour ban in the Elder Scrolls Online for bagging. And obviously, it's called bagging, but they're referencing teabagging. Honestly, this is such a pathetic rule. This honestly feels like the result of a mass report, which it probably is, to be fair, because that's usually what happens with these things. These stupid rules that are so vague usually get abused by people that want to utilize these rules, knowing that they're vague and knowing they can weaponize it against people. So chances are it was, in fact, a mass report. But regardless of that, I only dish out reciprocal bags, which is hilarious, to those who did it first, or if I'm just memeing around with friends. On top of that, they are supposed to ask you to stop, and continuing from there would result in your account being actioned, which did not happen. We'll source dev post below. If and when I receive such a message, I always comply. Would have laughed, of course, but wouldn't have been a problem to do. Even equating teabagging to physical harassment is wild. Really great way to water down what real-world physical harassment looks like, and is disingenuous. Yes, you guys heard that right. They are trying to equate online teabagging to real world physical harassment. That is the level of soft we have gotten to as a society, where they want to police the internet so bad and try to make it seem as if teabagging someone online is physically harassing them in real life. It is disgusting, to be honest with you, but this is where we're at, and it's not very shocking that this game is bleeding players. Then it says that more often than not, this rule gets used to weaponize the report system, exactly what I said, against others where the victim is actually the one instigating the behavior by doing the exact thing that they are reporting you for. Why do we have a rule to empower these bad actors? So if you look here, there's the report here. They have the reference number, the date that it was created, and then it says the Elder Scrolls Online team response on 5/02/2025. Here's what they said. Greetings. This account is receiving a 72-hour suspension and final warning due to violating the code of conduct. We cannot allow teabagging/physical harassment as is in direct violation of the following sections of our code of conduct. How is teabagging physical harassment? I really want them to explain this to me. I don't think they can. I think they just put everything together and hope that it sticks. But how the hell are you going to claim that teabagging is physical harassment? That is literally an impossibility. There is no physical anything happening at the point in time. If you want to call it digital harassment, fine, we can have that conversation, but you calling it physical harassment is just ruining the actual definition of physical harassment. And like this post said, you're watering down what actual real physical harassment is compared to what it's not. So anyway, this post was made, right? And it's funny because Pain in the Axe mentioned something that caught me curious. He said that on top of that, they're supposed to ask you to stop, and continuing from there will result in your action for your account. So then I thought about this. I'm saying, well, where did he get that from? Why would he think that? Why do you think that you have to ask to stop before anything could happen? Well, I looked it up, and this is a thread from August of 2022. So this is a while ago, okay? This is about 3 years ago. And it says, what are the rules regarding teabagging? I think the last update was about teabagging, and spamming emotes is fine, though if you ask someone to please stop, you should stop. Also, does a teabag E have to report this? Or can anyone report it? If me and my friends are fine with teabagging each other, can someone else take a screenshot of it and report it? So this is a question that was asked in 2022. So it's very clear that this has been a problem in Elder Scrolls Online for at least 3 years minimum, but I'm sure it's been more than that. This game, apparently, they have a big issue with teabagging. They have a big rule against it. But the official rule is exactly as this person stated, ELO 106, which is the person who is reporting is allowed to ask the person who is teabagging to stop. And the person who is teabagging cannot be reported unless they continue to teabag after being told to stop. That is apparently where you are allowed to report them for physical harassment. That's the distinction that Elder Scrolls Online has decided to go with in terms of reporting someone for harassment. So you cannot get reported if you're just friends messing around, teabagging each other, whatever the case may be. But if you go teabag someone else and that person tells you to stop and you don't stop, then they can report you and get your account banned. That's how ridiculous this is. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, over on the Steam forums, which I have a couple of Steam forums here, there are people saying that this game is dead, right? And granted, could be trolls, right? It could absolutely be trolls. But there's a lot of threads saying the exact same thing, that the game is dead, or they're looking for people to play with, or they can't find anyone to play with. This person says dead MMO. I've legitimately never played an MMO more dead than Elder Scrolls Online. Queue times are beyond outrageous, even for healers and tanks, and the entire game is so illy constructed, not to mention how heavily monetized it has become. This person says, yeah, you're only about 10 years too late, which again, the game is very old, not as old as some other games like World of Warcraft, for example, or even EverQuest or Final Fantasy 11 or any of those obviously, much more famous video games in the MMO sphere. But still, Elder Scrolls Online is old enough to the point where they should be worrying about maintaining players and not worrying about banning people for some of the most stupid things that I've ever heard, and claiming physical harassment. This person says dead game, no players online, game is dead. This is like the 20th post saying the game is dead in the last 1 month alone. And again, people are clearly not having enough, people to play with. Looking for more people to play with. I'm looking for a small group of friends to play with. I'm not new to the game, just the PC version. Please message me if interested. Oh, we beat EP, and if you play a high elf, don't bother. So again, people clearly are struggling to find players to play with. So ultimately, this story boils down to the most ridiculous thing, where they're deciding to play, the arbiters of social justice and trying to claim physical harassment for teabagging. And I thought it was the most insane, ridiculous story, and I figured I would share it with you. Elder Scrolls Online, if they are truly doing this and they are more worried about policing people's actions over teabagging than maintaining players and trying to bring players back, then it's very clear that this game is going to die, and it's only a matter of time. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.